What is going on, everyone? Hope y'all are doing well, and in this video we're going to talk about the one question that every investor involved in this company has either already asked or is asking themselves right now, and that is, should I sell Sphere 3D? Before we begin talking about Sphere 3D, I do believe that there are plenty of things to learn from this merger, even if you aren't a shareholder of this company. These things could help people from possibly making a poor decision in the future. Now, I've made a few videos talking about this company before, giving several perspectives and updates on how I feel about Sphere 3D. I have shared things that I was extremely excited about and things that I was extremely concerned about. But we are now going to wrap up this entire saga with Sphere 3D and Gryphon Digital Mining. This has been a merger that I have looked at for almost a year because I was mainly focused on Gryphon. And when I saw that they were going to merge, I wanted to put a small amount into the speculative play. Because the reality is that there are always risks when it comes to these mergers. But here is a quick recap to show how we got to where we are today. On February 3rd, Sphere 3D announced that they will grow their Bitcoin mining capacity to 32 exahash through the purchase of 60,000 new miner NM440 Bitcoin miners. This was huge news at the time because it would make them the leader in publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies in terms of hash rate. These miners have a hash rate apparently double their competitor, the Antminer S19 Pro Plus, and are 75% more energy efficient than the average Bitcoin miner. But the problem is that the actual miners look exactly like the Cerberus systems, and guess who found out about it? They ended up making a statement about this, and here's what they said. We are aware of a startup crypto mining company using a misappropriated altered image of the Cerberus CS2 product for their own business purposes. So they basically just called out NewMiner on Twitter. In a couple of days, there were numerous articles that were written not only about NewMiner, but also the trustworthiness of Sphere 3D and Gryphon Digital Mining. In the original article posted by Sphere 3D, the chair of the NewMiner Global Board of Directors, Anthony Melman, would be appointed to the board of directors at Sphere 3D in March of this year. Now, why would Sphere 3D do this if they know that the image of the miner was simply just altered by adding some splashes of color? Honestly, this was either extremely ignorant of them to not do their research, or there was something else that they needed to do to push prices up prior to the merger. And that is where I want to move to the next piece of the puzzle. Leading up to the possible date of the merger, they needed to maintain above a certain price, and there is a possibility that Sphere 3D made this announcement as a way to boost the share price in order to complete the merger. Clearly, this ended up not working out because on April 4th, they announced the termination of the agreement between Sphere 3D and Gryphon Digital Mining. I think it's safe to say that this sent the stock price down massively, being cut in half over the past month. I have continued to say we need to be extremely cautious when it comes to investing in this company because of all the uncertainty with this deal and the merger. This goes to show that it is not a good idea to put a ton of money into these pre-mergers because anything can happen. Now, personally, I still trust Gryphon Digital because I've been doing research and listening to their interviews for a while now, and they do know what they're talking about. But for Sphere 3D, they're now in a tricky position, and I need to ask myself the question of whether or not Sphere 3D is now worth the risk. Based off the growth of other Bitcoin miners, it doesn't make sense to hold shares of this company. With already having a small amount of shares, I risked money I was willing to lose. And so I'm perfectly fine with selling my shares to go into a more stable company with great growth and a low valuation. Especially with how stocks have performed over the past few months, there are some great companies right now that are at prices I think many of us never expected. So I shifted my money over to more stable companies. And I can honestly say that I feel much better with my portfolio now than where I was at the beginning of the year. Because stocks have fallen as much as they have, I now have a diversified portfolio with low risk, high reward companies. These companies include CleanSpark, Palantir, and The Honest Company. Even though many of my companies have fallen a lot, nothing has truly changed about the fundamentals of these companies. And so I'm going to continue to build my positions throughout the rest of the year. When it comes to Gryphon Digital, I will still keep my eyes on them to see if another merger arises. Of course, I will be extra cautious when looking at the possible merger. But just like what I did with Sphere 3D, I will only put money into the company that I'm willing to lose. Gryphon Digital will have a lot more work to do because of the rapid expansion of these other miners. But I do think that they have tremendous influence in the Bitcoin mining space that could help push them to become a top Bitcoin miner. With all of that said, when it comes to this failed merger, I honestly wouldn't change anything that I did. And I would encourage anyone that is significantly hurt by this merger to ask the question whether or not they truly invested money that they were willing to lose. I know there were times in the past that I invested more money than I probably should have in the more speculative companies, but these are just lessons that we all need to go through at some point. It has been a roller coaster to say the least, but now I'm perfectly fine with saying goodbye to Sphere 3D. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, tap that like button. That would mean a lot. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts on Sphere 3D and this merger, so feel free to mention them in the comments down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified when new content comes out. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you in the next one.